Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. It's actually Tuesday and I need to do Wednesday's video since I have my granddaughters tomorrow. In fact, my teenage granddaughter, she is starting the 9th grade, so she's starting high school and it's her last regular day that she could be with me. So I will miss her. I'm just gonna have to see her like sometime, on the weekend or something, but I will miss our regular times together. I wanted to do a video out of Ezekiel chapter 33 about warning others. And so I'm going to read the scripture and then talk about what it has to say as I go along. It says, "The word of the Lord came to me," to Ezekiel, "Son of man, speak to your countrymen and say to them, when I bring the sword against a land, and the people of the land choose one of their men and make him their watchman, and he sees the sword coming against the land and blows the trumpet to warn the people, then if anyone hears the trumpet but does not take warning, and the sword comes and takes his life, his blood will be on his own head." So stopping right there for a minute. So as the Lord is telling Ezekiel, the prophet, to warn the people about what is going to happen. And the Lord has given us his written word, the Bible, to warn us, to instruct us, encourage us, rebuke us, correct us, teach us, comfort us, and so much more. And so we have this and we should not ignore it. We should be in the word daily, because it is warning us. It is itself a watchman for us. And so notice that he says, when I bring the sword against a land. Okay, so he is saying when he is going to execute judgment because of sins. Okay, and so it's not if, it is when. Because we all can look at, it doesn't matter what country, what nation, whatever, every country and every nation has faced a judgment because of sins accumulating, and God only lets it go on for so long. And so the land is choosing their watchmen, and this would typically be someone who's standing up on the wall. They're looking out, seeing the signs of war, or someone bringing a message who's running to them. And he's saying, he'll blow the trumpet and he'll warn the people. And then notice this, if anyone hears the trumpet but does not take the warning, and the sword comes and takes his life, his blood will be on his own head. So they're responsible for their own stupidity of refusing to listen and not listening that trouble's coming, judgment's coming, war's coming, so forth, and totally ignore it. And I see that going around even today. Like, my husband and I will try to talk to people, about like what's going on in our nation. And it's literally just rebuffing us, mocking us, maybe for being a prepper. And that's on your own head. We've warned you. It is on your own head because you have been warned. Then going on in verse 5, it says, "Since he heard the sound of the trumpet, but did not take the warning, his blood will be on his own head. If he had taken the warning, he would have saved himself." Common sense. We should, now, there is a lot of, fake things out there, but if the accumulation of information is proving to be correct and valid, and you still choose to ignore it, then you get what you get. And that's essentially what he's saying. So then it goes on to say, "But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet to warn the people, and the sword comes and takes the life of one of them, that man will be taken away because of his sin, but I will hold the watchman accountable for his blood." Okay, so basically he's saying we have a responsibility as people of God to warn people first and foremost about spiritual things, about the gospel of Jesus Christ. It is our duty. We are called the ambassadors for Christ, not just one person out of the group of Christians. We are all ambassadors for Christ. And so an ambassador represents Christ. And, we tell about Christ. So we all are going to be held accountable to God about us sharing Christ in our words and our actions, okay? And warning about spiritual death. If we see a brother or sister falling into sin, gently rebuking them and bringing them back to Christ in obedience if possible. And even, unbelievers, and telling them. And also, if we see a warning of, bad things coming in general, we should, if we care about people, warn them, and tell them so they can have safety and protection. So we have a responsibility to warn people. Then it says in verse 7, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. And this is Ezekiel. So hear the word I speak and give them warning from me. And then he says, O wicked man, you will surely die, and you do not speak out to dissuade him from his ways. That wicked man will die for his sin, but I will hold you accountable for his blood. So he's telling him, you must give the message that I'm giving you. You are a prophet, and the man's dying for his own sins. Everyone's responsible for their own sins. No one is responsible for someone else's sin. We are all called accountable to God for ourselves, but we still need to warn them. That's what he's saying. And so then it says, but if you do warn the wicked man to turn from his ways, and he does not do so, he will die for his sin, but you will have saved yourself because you warned him. You obeyed God and you did the warning. You have no judgment on you about that. It's kind of like Jesus when he was telling his disciples, go to this town, preach the gospel. If they do not listen to you, then shake the dust from your feet and continue on, because they in their conscience know that they did right and they warn people. So our question is, are we warning people? We need to warn people about sin and judgment and salvation through Jesus Christ, the good news of Jesus Christ. It's good news. It's not doom and gloom. It is good news because Jesus has paid the price for our sin. And, it's only doom and gloom if you don't accept it, okay? And then almost ending it here, Son of man, say to the house of Israel, this is what you are saying. And then it says, our offenses and sins weigh us down, and we are wasting away because of them. How then can we live? Say to them, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they would turn from their ways and live. Turn from your evil ways. Why will you die, O house of Israel? And so I'm going to stop there with that scripture. And so he's saying, say this to him. And God's saying, I don't want you to die. I want you to live. I want you to turn to me for salvation and live. So this lesson is for us believers. We are accountable to the Lord to tell the good news of the gospel in our words and in our actions and the way we live. And also, if we see people, let's say someone's saved, but we see them going off track, to talk to them about their sin. Remember, a true friend will rebuke you, will tell you the truth. So be a true friend and warn others. Also, if we see that there are going to be shortages or there's going to be bad economic things coming, to gently warn people that they may want to stock up, to provide for their families. You have done your job, and you don't have to worry about it. And you can feel good in your conscience that you have done what the Lord has called you to do, which is to be that watchman on the wall for your family, your friends, and your community and your nation. I hope that everyone has a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you on Thursday. God bless.